Oh, I'm live early. I am live early right now. This was not my intention to be live right now. We're just here getting set up, figuring out things. Can you hear me, Stephen? Are you on it? So make sure that volume level. We're just here getting set up, trying to make sure this looks good. I did not mean to go live right now. Figuring out technology is awesome. Let's just readjust some things. You're not on it, Stephen? Okay. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Here we are, getting started early. We're going to stall a little bit because we're starting early. Just playing around with what's the camera angle here. How does that look, Steven? Okay. Here we are outside. Lots of sun coming our way. Sun's that direction, so if we turn this way more. We'll keep what we were doing. Fine. Can you let me know when someone else comes on, Steve? Okay. Okay. This looks pretty good. Can you hear me okay? Does it sound good? Because the microphone got moved a little bit. Did I move the microphone closer to me? Or did I sound good? Testing.
Sounds pretty good.
Okay.
Did you like the video?
Yes.
You did? Oh.
Yeah. Okay. We're here early, getting started early, just because I actually hit the go live button, and we're learning about technology still. And I'm a little worried that if I stop it and start it again, that it, will be a whole new link, and then no one will know how to get to it anymore. So here we are, just figuring things out together, which is awesome. Okay, while we're waiting to get started right now, in case anyone joins us mid-time here, we're gonna go ahead and start with the planned thing at 10 o'clock. But while we're waiting to get started, let's just get really, really present and really, really ready for this experience that we're gonna have together. We're here outside in the sun. The sun is full of prana that goes into our skin and helps us to be more energized and well. If you take your hands and just kind of, you can just kind of set them like palm up on your lap here, and then just be really aware of your hands. Really aware of where your hands are in space. And let the idea of your hands as like a physical shape, let that idea fade away. And just notice what's there in that space, we're not paying attention to the physical. And feel the power of your life force there where your hands are. Be conscious of it, be aware of it. Just enjoy it. Then become aware of the life force of your feet. Of your legs. Of your belly. The whole abdomen and all the way down to your knees. Become aware of the life force of your chest. Of your arms. Of your neck. Your whole head. It's the very top of your crown. Just be aware of the whole. Become aware of the space around you, which you occupy in space. And become aware of the space that space occupies in space. And become aware of the space that all of space occupies in space. Now we're getting ready we're here signed on early, just getting some preparation time before 10 o'clock. We're getting ready for the live stream. It's going to happen at 10. And so here in a state of awareness and consciousness, we're going to remember that we're talking about agency today. We're going to look inside ourselves, look inside of the space we occupy in space, the space of a spiritual space of our body, and be aware of any part of ourselves that could make a shift to be prepared to talk about agency today. Prepared to engage with this agency season in general. I'm becoming aware, and you can be aware of this with me, of the belly, the space the belly occupies in space, and there's a door there, and the door is locked. And there's like a little gremlin guarding the door. He does not want the door to be opened. Beyond the door is mass amounts of understanding, deeper levels of awareness of all things. Why does this gremlin guard that door? Why doesn't the gremlin want us to open it? When I engage with the gremlin, I sense light, like the sky, like a blue, cloudy sky filled with light that goes on forever. I didn't know there could be so much space within space. There's a being of light here, like an angel. And golden light. But all of this is of an opposing energy to that of the gremlin. And the energy of this infinite space, this infinite sky-like space, and this angelic being are at odds with the energy of this gremlin. They're at odds with one another. What can we do about that? I sense that my higher power has arrived. You can call your higher power God or collective consciousness. You can call your higher power whatever you want to call the universe, whatever you want to call your higher power. I am a believer in Jesus, and I identify my higher power as Jesus, and that speaks to me. I sense Jesus here with a retinue of helpers, spiritual beings, with the powers that Jesus answers to, the supreme power of the universe. And they come with keys and tools and measuring devices. And they measure all the circumstances involved in this door and this gremlin and everything that's going on here, circumstances of my body. And they pick up the gremlin and they use their medical tools to help him. I think he might be in a hospital for a little while. He might not be ready to get all the help he needs right at this moment. But they take him to a room in a hospital where he can be taken care of. So the door is no longer guarded. They open the door, and it's like being flung into a world of infinite possibilities, a world that's inside my higher power. And here, understanding of the 13 seasons is unfolded, understanding of all things and all the implications thereof. And I feel prepared to answer any questions and do anything to help anyone who signs in live for this live stream or who tunes in later, because time doesn't matter. Whether you come in person or come later, it doesn't matter. And in the spiritual realm, what time you show up for in the physical realm doesn't matter to the spiritual realm. And I feel prepared to do whatever I can to be helpful to anyone. Let's see what time it is. Okay, we have 4 more minutes. Has anyone joined us? Okay.
The mic is. I think you should move it a bit closer.
Okay. We're gonna move this mic closer.
Is it set? Because I know that thing has multiple modes. So
It's set with the mode that records whatever's directly in front of it.
Okay.
Which could just be that it's not pointed at me very well.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're not talking, it like makes like a clicking noise, and then or not clicking noise, but it makes a noise, and then records whatever's going on, in nature.
Okay.
Which is mainly just white noise.
All right. Thank you.
This seems to have fixed.
Seems better now?
Mm-hmm. A lot better.
Okay. All right. We're going to start in 2 minutes. We're ready for this now. It's going to be a great experience we're going to have together. And what a blessing is to have these 2 minutes to just be still and mindful. No need to think about anything. You can just be here. I'm going to tap for a moment. I'm feeling just a little bit of my trauma coming up right now in a way that could get in the way of having the best experience with you all here today. So I'm tapping for a little bit to process the feelings of those trauma. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We're starting our live stream today. Happy Accept Agency season. We just finished the Unity season. I know that during that season, learned a lot about, I came to understand Unity as a deeper force in a way that was beyond what I understood before. I feel like a lot of that understanding has been captured really well in the Fulfill Unity page on 13seasons.org that you can go look at. The realizations are captured there well, so you can read that if you understand what I've learned about Fulfill Unity. Each of these seasons is powerful. We divide the year into 13 seasons, and during each season, it's about 4 weeks for each season. And each of these seasons, for some reason that we're still trying to understand, there's some spiritual and physical force that comes together during each of these seasons that makes it so that if you focus on the virtue of that just now, and today we're transitioning into the accept season. I've been feeling the transition gradually this week. These transitions between the seasons aren't like a hard and fast, like black and white. It just happens. They're a gradual transition. I've been feeling that transition from the energy of unity to the energy of agency at this time. And that's a neat thing. It's neat to be in this season now. The topic we're going to be talking about today to kick off the Accept Agency season and get things going is this topic of how we have agency, right? But what do we do about the fact that other people's agency affects us so much? So let's dig deep into that. So Accept Agency has 2 core principles, right? Each of the seasons throughout the 13 seasons has core principles, and the number of core principles increases as the seasons go on. So Fulfill Unity only had 1 core principle, fulfill unity. Accept Agency has 2 core principles, and the next one will have 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then the 13th principle, the 13th season has 13 principles. That's the way it's set up. Each of the seasons, as it progresses through, becomes more nuanced. It has some more nuances to it that are valuable to understand. So we're in the second season. It has 2 principles, and the 2 principles are accept personal agency and accept influential agency. Let's talk about the personal agency first. So we really do have power to create our lives. Okay. Agency is a principle of creation. I use my agency to make choices. And when I make choices, it creates my life, right? Choices are the building blocks of a life. And so I can, move my life in whatever direction I want it to move in with my agency. And I think sometimes we underestimate how much power we really have to influence our lives in a certain direction. It's powerful stuff. And there's some people who say things like, well, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, right? They're like, whatever your problem is, it's your problem. Do what you need to do, pick yourself up and get going. You have agency. And that's only half true, right? That principle is great and empowering in lots of ways, but it can also be deceptive if we don't balance it with the other, which is influential agency. So influential agency says that other people's choices have impact on my life, right? And I have impact on theirs too. So, I can do all sorts of things to just take my life the way I want with my choices, but there are some things I can't affect. I can't affect, the choices my parents made that led to me being born in a certain circumstance, right? When I was a baby, my agency was very limited. I had very little choice over what I could do at all. And my parents had like complete sway over what happens to me, right? So, and the choices they made when I was a little tiny baby still affect me today. Their influential agency is still impacting me, right? The agency of all of society is impacting me, right? Society is built a certain way that's the result of lots and lots and lots of people's choices over thousands of years that have gotten to the way society is now. And frankly, that impacts me, right? In our family, one thing in this economy that's in the world right now, one thing we deal with is that we're really blessed to be able to rent a house right now for a very affordable price. But frankly, we'd really like to own a house, right? That's something we'd like to do. But because of the way society has set things up right now, and just think the way the society's set up, just having access to buying a house right now doesn't work for us at the moment, right? Because of the way the economy is built, because of the choices of lots of other people who have resulted in the economy we live in, right? And that's just the way it is. This topic can get really ugly stuff, right? Some parents and some other adults are really abusive. And some people grow up or right now are in a very abusive situation where other people are abusing them. And it might not feel like if you're being abused right now, it might not feel like you have much agency. If you grew up in an abusive situation, but you're still like traumatized by it every day, it might not feel like you have much agency. If your family is dealing with sickness and you're feeling stuck in the medical system and like all the bureaucracy of that and the ridiculousness of insurance, it might not feel like you have agency. If things just keep happening to you that keep keeping you from moving forward the way you want to, it might not feel like you have agency. And that's really understandable. You might feel stuck. Let's look though, let's unravel this and look a little deeper about what's going on with this, okay? It's my belief that that our existence is bigger than this physical life, right? We exist spiritually or energetically or etherically beyond just our physical form. And you can think of it like in many videos we've been making this comparison recently on 13 seasons. You can think of it like an ocean compared to a wave, right? Our physical form is like a wave on the ocean. And when we're here having a physical experience, we're intentionally choosing to be a wave. And being a wave is kind of fun. It's limited. You're going up and down a lot. You're having crazy adventures. You run into stuff like fish swim through you. It's kind of a fun, crazy, rocky experience, right? But if you're only aware of yourself as a wave, you're not aware of yourself beyond anything but a wave. It's also very limited. You just cover this little tiny bit of space. But if you're aware of yourself as the ocean, because the wave is just the surface of the ocean, right? The wave is just a piece of the ocean. And when you're aware of yourself as the ocean, as a wave on the whole ocean, which has other waves on it too, by the way, think about the implications of that. When you're aware of yourself as the wave on the ocean, you get a sense into the deeper spiritual self that's beyond just like your physical form. And it's my belief and understanding that it's like, you can think of it like we were the ocean before we came to be physical, and we were just being the ocean. Being the ocean was awesome, but we wanted to have a different experience so we could learn, and so we chose to be a wave for a little tiny bit of time here on this planet, and eventually we'll return back to being the ocean. And if we engage with spiritual kinds of things, with a lot of the tools and resources on 13 Seasons website, for example, engaging with those kind of principles can help us remember that we're the ocean. We can actually coexist as the wave and the ocean at the same time. So when we were the ocean and we said, let's go be a wave, we had some we had to, design what our experience being the wave, being waves together would be like. And the 13 seasons represent 13 principles that we'd put in place that would affect our experience, right? So unity would be in place here. Unity would constantly be pulling us towards our best selves, right? And it could constantly be at odds with ego. And that would just be part of the experience. Also, we decided we would have agency, right? We're going to fulfill unity and we're going to have agency. And if we're going to have agency, then that means that we need to be able to make choices, and our choices need to matter, right? Because if we had choices, but our choices didn't impact anything, then what would be the point of having choices? So it's important that we would have choices that would impact ourselves, and we'd be free to choose whatever we want, and it would impact ourselves. It would have consequences for ourselves. It was important. Otherwise, why be able to choose? That was important to us. It was important to us that everyone be honored with the chance to choose, right? So everyone would have personal agency. So, and everyone be able to choose. So if I honor the principle of accepting personal agency, then that means that I believe that I can choose. I don't go through life being a victim. I believe that I can choose and create my situation. And I let other people do the same. I don't try to manipulate people or force people to do things the way I want them to, but I honor them and let them make their own choices and receive their own consequences, right? We also decided that our choices would have impact on others. If our choices only affected ourselves and didn't affect other people, then we'd all be islands and we wouldn't be interacting with each other at all. So we wouldn't be having an experience together. And our agency wouldn't be as powerful. If our agency couldn't affect other beings here on this planet, our agency wouldn't matter as much. So we put in place the principle of influential agency as well, to make it so that we could influence other beings with our agency, and other beings would influence us. And this meant our agency really mattered and really has power. So if I go through life being like, I wish other people's choices didn't affect me, that's annoying, which is really understandable, right? If I do that though, then I'm denying this principle. Because if other people's choices didn't affect me, then could my choices affect others? I wouldn't be able to learn and grow the same way if my choices couldn't affect others. And if other people's choices couldn't affect me, I wouldn't get to learn and grow from that experience of how to respond to that with my own agency. So I totally empathize with the fact that other people's choices might be making things real crummy for you right now. Empathize with that. I want to take a moment just now to look at you and see you and be an empathetic witness to how hard that is, and accept the suffering with you for just a moment. It really hurts. It hurts how much other people can hurt us. It hurts that you feel so trapped. Tap with me right here. There's a hard collarbone. Under that, there's these two soft spots. Just tap with me right now. Let's feel that together all the way and accept the suffering. Let's accept the suffering of how painful it is, how other people hurt us. I'm with you in this. Now, let's put our hands on our chest and let's accept gratitude. Gratitude that our choices do matter. Gratitude can learn from this experience. Gratitude that it's possible to heal in a way that we still learned from it, but emotionally it's as if it didn't happen. That's something we can do. And we're going to do a meditation now that'll help with that. I ask you to follow along with me. If you're watching this video right now and you're in a place where maybe it's not appropriate to follow along with this at the moment, maybe you're in a situation that's too distracting, or you're driving or something and you don't want to be in meditation while you're driving. Meditating while driving, depending on how you meditate, can be very dangerous. Influential agency, you cause an accident, you hurt people, dang it. Okay, so we got to be wise about when we meditate. If the situation you're in right now isn't the best for meditating, then you can just listen to the meditation, and just listening to it without participating will help you. It'll kind of sink in naturally. And then later on, when you're in a better place, you can try the meditation. So let's do this meditation now. I'm really excited for this. Breathe slowly. It's good to create some still space at the beginning of the meditation. It helps you be ready to follow along in a peaceful space, and helps me because I'm still waiting for the ocean to tell me what this meditation is going to look like. So that stillness gives me a spot to figure that out. Okay, we're going to take our hands like this, right? So you can take your hand and put like cups like this together, so the cups are facing each other. This is a really powerful meditation technique. Take your hands like this. And we're gonna put our hands like this in front of our our head in this position. We're just gonna breathe here for a little bit. Breathe whatever way feels natural to you. Just be aware of your breathing. Your breath is the entire universe. There is nothing else. Be aware of the space you're in. Be aware of the temperature against your skin. Be aware of any sounds in this you can hear. Of any people around you. As you become aware of the people around you, be aware of the space that their heart or their chest occupies in space. Let that connect with the space that your heart or chest occupies in space. Just breathe into that. Feel the love and joy of being connected to other people, and the love and joy of how our choices influence one another. Notice the ways that our influential agency lets us serve each other. And ask yourself, how can I use my agency to be a positive influence in the life of someone else? Ask yourself that question and see what answer comes forth from within you. hang on to whatever you're learning, because when this meditation's done, you're going to want to write that down. So commit to yourself. You'll remember what you're learning right now about how you can serve other people, how you can use your agency to positively impact other beings. Now, we're going to go to whatever the space in which we're going to accept and be honest about how other beings, how other people have harmed us. All of us have been harmed by others at some point in our lives. We're going to move our hands to put them on our chest like this. Right? Hands on the chest. We're going to go deep inside ourselves and bring up whatever harm, bring up a memory of a time when someone harmed you. Could have been recent, could have been a long time ago, could be in a small way, could be in a big way. Bring up that memory. You might find the memory comes up isn't your memory at all, but is the memory of one of your ancestors who's dealing with that trauma still inside your body. Bring up the memory. It'll be painful. Accept the suffering. Instead of resisting the suffering, suffering's only a negative experience if you resist it. If you just accept suffering, it doesn't have to be a negative experience, but it is suffering. Accept it. Bring up the memory. Tap here in that same spot we talked about earlier. Just tap as you accept the suffering of this memory. We can tap some more points while we continue to feel the suffering. You can tap right here. Now here. 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 Tap here. Continue to accept the suffering while you tap. Tap here. And now you're going to tap. You can't see this where I'm at, but you're going to tap right. You're going to tap right here on the side, the bottom of the rib cage. Continue to accept the suffering while you tap. And we're going to tap on top of the head while we accept the suffering more. Take a deep breath. Let out. If you followed along with these instructions, then you received some degree of healing from how people's choices have hurt you so much. There's more work to be done. If the hurt is deep, it's going to take more than this one session to work through it all the way. If the hurt isn't deep, you may have worked through it all, but there's other things to work through because we get hurt by others more than once in our lives. Another thing you can do later, if you want to, is write about the suffering, the memory that came to you. If you feel like there's more to release, write that memory out and all the feelings that come with it and all the ways that it affected you. Write it out, write it out, write it out. You might even write it as a letter to that person that you're not going to give them, where you can be completely honest about what you feel about it. Then when you're done, take that paper, burn it or rip it up in little pieces or destroy it somehow. Wash your hands, maybe get out in some sun if you can. Drink some good water and move on. When you sleep, before you sleep, you can use an intention or prayer or meditation to dedicate your sleep as a time to process emotions. While we dream in rapid eye sleep and our eyes go back and forth, it processes emotions. So you can dedicate your sleep each night to helping you process the trauma of this, and your sleep can become healing time. That's why it's important to get enough sleep every night, because otherwise we're not processing the emotions of each day. Our life is like a garden. We can't control everything that happens to us. If you ever gardened, there's lots of aspects of gardening you can't control. You can't control the sun. You can't control the rain. You can't control, what bugs show up in your garden. There's lots of things you can't control. And that's life. Other people's agency, other forces outside of ourselves affect us. We can't control that. But when you garden, there's a lot you can control. And you can choose what to plant when. You can choose when you water it. You can choose, when you use whatever techniques you use to deal with the critters. You can control, what gardening technique you use, what fertilizer you use. There's all these where you plant things. There's all these different things you can control. And in life, there's lots we can't control, but there's lots we can control. And master gardeners learn to flow with what's happening in nature to get the result they want. And they don't force plants to just be these wonderful plants. They use the principles they know to make choices to respond with nature, and then the plants grow on their own. And as we do that, as we learn through our experience and through good mentors, through our spiritual experiences, 13 seasons tools can help with this. As we learn how to live our lives in a way that gives the best chance of the flowers blossoming, then we'll gradually learn to become master gardeners of our lives and master gardeners of our families' experience together, master gardeners of our communities' experience together, master gardeners of our world experience together. We can learn to do that little bit by bit. And one of the principles that can help us to do this is to practice virtue in its season. The 13 seasons principle is real. If you look inside yourself right now, you can ask yourself if that's true and see what you feel. There's a designated time of the year, these dates that are on the 13 seasons website, when if you focus on that virtue during that season, that virtue will naturally spring forth more easily. Give it a shot and enjoy your best self, one season at a time. Bye. Love and light to all of you.